Hey guys, welcome to Everything Football. In this video we're gonna be looking at this game week's results because there were some real shockers in there, and this is actually a new idea that I haven't done before, so let's get right into the video. Now, first up we've got Newcastle versus Arsenal, and this game ended 1-0 to Newcastle if you didn't know, and that's a really bad game for Arsenal, I would say, because now I've heard a lot of people saying that they're out of the title race. I don't think so because it's so early, but they've really put themselves in a bad spot and they're definitely not favorites for this game. I thought that they were very lacking in creativity because the only player who they had with creativity was Bukayo Saka, because Martin Odegaard is injured. So what Newcastle did was very good was that Joe Linton actually went on him as well as their left back, which meant that they had two men on Saka, and that led to him not finding any creativity, and therefore I felt the game from Arsenal was very dry, while Newcastle could just defend after that brilliant goal from Isak, after that another brilliant cross from Anthony Gordon. And yeah, overall, for the first time this season, I can say that Newcastle really dealt with that game very good tactically, because that was a really great call from Eddie Howe to do that, and it's a really nice win for them because they're sitting 11th in the league now, and Arsenal is not going good for them either. But yeah, I think this is a real shocker for Arsenal, but it's a really good result for Newcastle. And now we've got another very shocking result: Bournemouth versus Manchester City, where Bournemouth actually beat them 2-1. And this was a brilliant game for the neutral because this was not expected at all. City lost against Spurs, my team, in the week in the Carabao Cup, which obviously didn't mean much to them, which was the first losses of the season, but now they've lost in the Premier League as well, and this is a bigger problem for them. I still think they're definitely one of the big title favorites, because they often do this at the beginning of the season where they play bad and then they just fix it up at the end with a good run and then end up winning the league anyway. But this is a really good result for Bournemouth, who actually beat Arsenal as well last week, and obviously Arsenal had the red card and all of that stuff then, but they still beat two of the best sides in England, and they're playing really nice football at the moment. So I think this is more of a statement win for Bournemouth than anything else. Now, next up we have Ipswich versus Leicester, which was at Ipswich home ground, and this was a 1-all draw. And I think it's a very frustrating game for Ipswich because they were hoping for a win here, I'm pretty sure, because they have drawn a lot of games and lost a lot of games. They still don't have their first Premier League win this season, so that's something they're gonna be looking for. And they did go 1-0 up from that beautiful goal from Leif Davies, and such a good goal. But then Calvin Phillips decided to get sent off, or he didn't decide to, but he got sent off. And that obviously turned the game around, which led to Jordan Ayew scoring the equalizer late into extra time, and that led to it becoming a draw. And I think this is more of a positive result for Leicester, but Ipswich, I don't think, obviously they're not going to be that mad about the result, but they're definitely going to be going into this one hoping for a win because they are still winless. And unfortunate for Calvin Phillips as well, who hasn't had the best of careers in his move to Manchester City, and he's sort of on the trying to revive his career, and this is not a very good step in doing that. I think he hasn't started the season very well. Next up we have Liverpool versus Brighton, where Liverpool beat them 2-1. And Brighton are a very good team this season actually, so you should never underestimate them. Fabian Hützel has them playing very nice football actually, for a very young manager as well. I don't know how they keep doing it with all these new managers and they still new players, but they just keep on being good every single season. It was a very good performance from Brighton, although they did lose, but Liverpool are probably the best side right now in England, so yeah. But I think right now, as it stands, Liverpool are the favourites for the title, but anything can happen. You remember last season it was so close, so I'm never gonna predict the title winner right now because it's only 10 games in. If you remember last time when it was 10 games in last season, Spurs were first in the league, my team, and I didn't think they were gonna win the league. So yeah, you should never predict something like that 10 games in, because anything can happen, you know, injuries and all that stuff. But it was a really promising win for Liverpool because they had a lot of promising wins now. Arne Slot has started really well, Now it could be new manager bounce, but I don't think so. I think they're actually a really good team because they still have the same squad that they did under Jurgen Klopp. Now here we have a game and a half. Nottingham Forest 3, West Ham 0. West Ham have started so bad this season. Everyone was saying, oh, transfer window, they won the transfer window. But what's happened? They got Julian Lopetegui, they sacked David Moyes for some good football, but they've not started the season well at all. They've got some really nice players as well. And no doubt that if this keeps happening, then his job will definitely be under pressure. But as for Nottingham Forest, what a start to the season that they've had. They've got some really nice players in there, and they're sitting over Arsenal in 3rd in the league, and that's actually so good for them. A lot of people were saying they were going to get relegated at the beginning of the season, but that doesn't look very likely at all. So yeah, they've had a good start, and maybe they can finish in these European places come the end of the season, but I think it's still too early to predict that. But they do have a great start, and that finish, by the way, by Ola Aina was so good. I thought so good. It was a classic belter in top corner. But yeah, nice performance. And obviously West Ham had one man less for the whole second half, so that's gonna affect a lot, but they were still 1-0 down, so I think they still would have lost the game, but you never know. Now here we have Southampton versus Everton, and Southampton actually managing to get their first Premier League win of the season. 1-0 they beat them, and this was a very unfortunate result for Everton. They were almost gonna score a goal there, but the Beto headed it on the crossbar, I think it was, and then on the counter attack Southampton actually scored 1-0, and after that Everton scored the equalizer, but it's disallowed for offside. Now it was offside, but it's very unfortunate for them. It was Beto as well, so yeah, it's very unfortunate for Everton. But as for Southampton, it's very nice for them to have their first Premier League win. A lot of people are pressuring Russell Martin, and I still do believe that Southampton will get relegated, especially under Russell Martin. I don't really rate him as a manager because I think he doesn't adapt as well, but we'll see what happens come the end of the season. But it was still good for them to get their first win. Now we have two teams who have had a very poor start to the season, and that's obviously Wolverhampton versus Crystal Palace. Now both of these teams were definitely going in here for a win, because Crystal Palace, they have had a few wins now, but they were winless until they played my team Tottenham, and they beat us obviously 1-0. And then they went and beat Villa in the Carabao Cup, and then they come here to meet Wolverhampton, who haven't won a single game of the season yet, and they're definitely confident that yeah, we can go here and get 3 points. And Wolverhampton on the other side, they are winless this season still, and they were definitely coming here at their home ground and thinking, yeah, we need to get these 3 points. I don't think any of the sides will go home very happy, but 2-2, I think it was a fair result. Wolverhampton are in real trouble. They have easy fixtures now, I think, but still 10 games in, not a single win. That's really, they could definitely be getting relegated, but I'm not sure I'm gonna go there yet, because they do have a pretty decent team, but this is going really worrying for them. And for Gary O'Neill as well, is his job in trouble? It must be. I think he's a good manager, but yeah, we'll see. Now next up we've got Tottenham Hotspur 4, Aston Villa 1. Now I'm gonna try not to be too biased here, because obviously I support Tottenham, but I do believe that it was a great win for Tottenham here. It was a statement win, because Villa have been pretty good this season, and they were good last season as well. Ange went there with his team last season to Villa Park and beat them 4-0 with the John McGinn red card and everything, but this was a good win for Spurs. Villa, who are I think more developed in their project than Spurs, still going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and lose. And I think this will hopefully silence some of the Ange haters who want him out or whatever they do, because they think he's unadaptable or doesn't have a plan B or whatever they say. But I personally am Ange in. Now I'm gonna try not to rant too much about Tottenham because it's my team, but as for Aston Villa, I think this result doesn't really do anything good for them, because they were definitely hoping to get a win here, and it would be a good statement for them as well to get a win here. But I don't think that you can't write them off for this. They're still gonna be up there challenging for the top 4, even though they lost. You have to remember, Tottenham beat them 4-0 last season at Villa Park, and Aston Villa still finished 4th and Spurs finished 5th. So I think at the end, this doesn't really do anything to the league table, except that Tottenham, who results-wise hasn't started the season that well, jump upwards. But yeah, big statement win for Spurs. Now, moving on, we've got Man United 1, Chelsea 1. And this game, it's a difficult game for me to judge, because Man United have sacked Erik ten Hag, as you probably know, and now they have Ruud van Nistelrooy as their interim manager, but they do have Ruben Amorim, who is coming in, so it's very hard. I don't think this result actually means that much for them, but as for Chelsea, they've done very good under Maresca for the start of the season, and they were definitely going to Old Trafford hoping for a win here, and they're not going to be too happy for the draw, but I don't think either of the teams will be that disappointed. They'll be a little bit disappointed, I think, both of them, but it was the fair result. It was a back and forth game, especially in the second half, and I think it's worth for Chelsea, who are already in the midst of their project, while United are not even starting it yet. So yeah, but I don't think this affects that much actually, and it's a fair result. Now we have a Monday night game, which I didn't think was gonna be that big of a game, but it actually turned out to be that, and it was Fulham versus Brentford, and Fulham went on to beat Brentford 2-1 actually. Brentford scoring the first goal, Janelt with a very nice goal, and then Harry Wilson, what a substitute, comes on in the 80-something minute, and then he scores the equalizer, and he scores the winner in the 92nd and the 96th minute. What a goal. I think the first one of him was. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but I mean, cut the man some slack. It was a really nice goal, and he scored 2 goals for them to win the game, so it was a really nice substitute from him, and it was good decision from Marco Silva to do that, and I'm enjoying Fulham, and I think they were the fair winners this game. And it was, as I said, 2 very nice goals from him. Although the second one, I think the keeper could have done better, but it's not entirely his fault. But yeah, guys, so those were this game week's results and my reflections of them. Let me know if you agree with me and what you think in the comments down below, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, have a good day, and goodbye.